you got to spend your money in order to make money when it comes to streaming. I never experienced this with YouTube because I just pop out with my camera, nigga. I buy one camera, SD card, a laptop. I'm good to go. I don't need to spend nothing else, nigga. I buy food, whatever. I vlog, post my vlogs. That's it. This shit right here, nigga, this is a spending game. The more you spend, the more lit you get.
The game has totally changed for streaming, and I don't know if it's for the better. Over the past few years, a type of content creation that used to be dubbed for people who were the outcasts of society, you know, the nerds, the lames, the people who had dirty rooms with bugs all over the floor, pizza boxes everywhere, and were sweaty at their computer desk has totally changed. Now, streaming is into mainstream media and society, and everybody wants to get their hands on the game. It's literally the one-stop shop for celebrity interviews, recording sessions, IRL content. It's the place to be and the thing to be doing if you want to be creating content in 2025. But with the uptick of not only productivity, but also production, it almost seems like streaming has created its own bidding war, because no longer can you sit behind the desk and react to a Jubilee video and get hundreds of thousands of views or pop off because of that. You're not going to be able to do the route of some of these other content creators and go faceless and react to AMP videos and come big. But nowadays, you'll have to do things like Kai does in his Mafia-thon, where he has freaking Batman behind the scenes footage, literally blue screen sets with whole set designers, and have that type of production on your content. Don't want to be a Castanat? You want to be more a Plaqueboy Max? That's fine. But Plaqueboy Max spends a lot of money doing these streams with these artists. Not only does he have to get the artist out there, which may or may not cost him anything, but he has to rent these Airbnbs, which people probably think an Airbnb couldn't be too expensive for somebody like Plaqueboy Max, right? $200 a night for a couple nights, that's only $400 a pop. But we've talked about it. He has to deal with the smoking situation, and it's coming right out of his pockets.
Yo, just to clarify for anyone that end up seeing this or want to come on future streams or like any artist, y'all are of course welcome to smoke outside. You just can't smoke inside in a B&B where they might charge me, because I've been charged before $5,000 to $10,000 or whatever more in fees for damages because of smoking, because they will make up an amount. It's happened to me before.
Now, I've never worked with these rappers, but I feel like that's an essential thing for studio sessions. They have to get lit, they have to get in their mode, they have to smoke. I don't know. This is just the price that you have to pay when you want to up your streaming content. Now, the question then is asked, how integral is it to do some events like this in order to grow as a live streamer? This is the thing that I'll give praise for the content. People were able in the past to just do their content, make their money, not up the production level, and still get great results. But there's been certain content creators who have pushed the envelope. We're talking about the Mr. Beasts of the world. We're talking about the Logan Pauls of the world. We're talking about the Kai Cenats of the world, who have been able to put in time, effort, and their creative energy, along with some cash, in order to take an uptick to the content creation game. Now, with that being said, it was definitely going to touch all the different spheres. So I know that most people think that Kai Cenat is mainly a desktop streamer, and his desktop setups have been good. But this is also crossed over into the IRL space. With the IRL space, you have to plan the streams, set locations, hire a team, because it's not like you can hold the camera or the equipment by yourself. And then when you think about it, there's more clips going out nowadays, so that means more editors. There's more planners to be planned, the plannings, that's more planners involved. There's so much more that goes into content creation now that it's become the standard and expectation that people feel like it has to come with this astronomical amount of money, or you're not performing up to the level. Senna recently got into an argument with somebody talking about how much effort and energy she puts into her content, and she even lamented about her gripes where it comes to how much individual involvement can be done from the content creator side of things. And I understand Senna's point wholeheartedly, because as I look at different people's videos and people's different content, I just count how many cameras or people are involved in these situations and scenarios, and I gotta laugh, because we are well from the Snowball Yeti days of content creation.
These are the tools. So y'all see clips of me going live. This is the tool you need. FX3, and this is a live view, solo live view. Put the things in there, or just.
Well, we can show them real quick.
Yeah, show them. Why not?
Plug it in.
Plug that in.
And then you're good to go. You just press go live.
Then you go live. That's all it is. So that's what I do every single day. I cannot live without this. Obviously, I still use the phone for places that don't allow this, because obviously stadiums. I went to the Ballon d'Or, so I have to stream on a phone as well. So phone is a good essential too.
This is just way better all around.
That live view backpack is $1,500. The body for the camera alone is $4,000. I know that lens is probably another $2,000. That microphone is a couple couple $100s, probably like $300 or whatever the case may be. So we'll do some rounding. $2,000 for the backpack, $4,000 for the camera, body, and then another $2,000 for the lens. What is that? Sub $10,000, like $7,000 in order to have your streaming essentials set up. Now, iShowSpeed does talk about having the cell phone be an essential. You know, he keeps the cell phone on him or whatever the case may be. But it is just better because the bar has now been risen so much that in order for you to start your live streaming journey or be successful in your live streaming journey down the IRL path, you have to buy $7,000 worth of equipment out the gate. When we compare the streaming game to other ventures in content creation, we do see some differences. Now, on the YouTube side of things, there are still a lot of low level and low lift creators that are still making it work, because I think on the YouTube side of things, authenticity still does reign supreme. And authenticity doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do all of this, you know, money push, dump money into all this stuff and put your best foot forward and your personality shines, all that stuff, etc., etc. One other difference though that I do think makes streaming much more expensive than any other form of content creation is there is this always on nature when it comes to streaming. We're talking about plus 3 hours on a daily basis, and we're talking about going more days out of the week than not. So if we're talking about paying a cast and crew, you know, having the equipment, funding the lights, the ideas, etc., for 5 days out of the week, it has to get expensive. We're talking about 8 to 10 hours a day. This has to be an expensive game. Even if you want to take it to different kinds of content creators who are on the lower side of streaming, I mean, consistently buying games, subbing to these different platforms, you know, keeping up with the PC needs for today's day and age, it's still going to cost you a lot of money. Now, this could be a rich man's problem because at the bottom half of Twitch, and bottom half maybe even an exaggeration, because there are only 40 to 50 channels who average about 10K viewers on Twitch. But there are a lot of streamers on the other side of things who still go the traditional routes and are still finding great success. Now, maybe there's a conversation to be had about whether your growth will be stunted or not, which I might say that there's a possibility that it can be, especially when you're having to compete with a lot of people like the Kai Cenats of the world or the DDGs of the world who are putting on these Mafiathons, or hell, even Neon, who recently was asked to spend $1 million to stream with James Harden. It's literally much harder nowadays to continue with the content cycle. It's not just live streaming. People are just demanding more content from you. So even if you aren't directly spending more money, which you probably are because you're having to pay for editors, you're having to pay for writers, you're having to pay for people make thumbnails. If it's not there, then you are talking about trading your time in, which is also very valuable because you need to just create more. And the saddest part about this whole conversation is we don't talk about the people who end up losing a bunch of money when they do these content creation endeavors.
Profit wise, I don't know. I might break even. I might make a little money. I might lose some money, but it's not about that. It's about elevating. It's about bringing in, you know, it's about bringing in a new audience and letting people know I can do the shit.
DDG does bring up some good points because sometimes in investment land, you do have to break even, make a little bit of money, or hell, even lose money in an attempt to garner a new audience. That's what investments are. That's what outreach is. But I don't think any of this is sustainable when we talk about the marathon streaming and we talk about spending this much money to not expect any output that is positive, especially because there's no correlation between spending a lot of money and upping, you know, your views or your performance. I think it begs the question, do streamers or content creators even need to do stuff like this?
For me, I'm on the extreme end of the spectrum towards low budget because I think it's mostly about managing risk. I never want one video to like me up or wipe me out or make me have to take a sponsor I don't want to take or whatever. I like the total freedom. Let me give you an example. If somebody made a video and got 1.5 million views, right? But it cost them 50 grand to make. And I get a video that makes 500K views, but it cost me nothing. Then ROI wise, I actually won. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do in order for content creation to make sense for you. I think a lot of people have misconceptions that content creators just make a shit ton of money. They don't have to spend it. They get to do their own personal things, etc., etc. But with the way that content is being pushed in 2025 and beyond, as it's seen as a way to replace mainstream media, there is a really good conversation that says you do have to spend to make a lot of money in content creation. If you're not outspending somebody, then honestly, you're going to be left behind. I think in the beginning, you should start off by doing things yourself so you can become as knowledgeable as possible. But just know that somebody out there is going to be investing money that you probably don't have. But as long as you stay authentic to yourself and your goal and what your bigger picture is, then you should be happy with whatever the outcome is. Because trust me, in that same token, somebody is spending way too much money and not getting enough output. I don't know. I done seen the dollars. It don't make sense for a lot of folks.